Good afternoon. Good morning, everybody. Well, rather afternoon, but good morning. I'm just coming on here, to express my opinions between the differences of Christianity and being Christ-like. So, what I did was I broke it down a little bit to this distinction. Christianity is a noun, and it means it's a religion derived from Jesus Christ, based on the Bible as sacred scripture and professed by Eastern Roman Catholics and Protestants, right? And Christ-like is an adjective, is resembling or showing the spirit of Christ, following the teachings or the manifestations of the qualities or the spirit of Christ, right? So those are the differences, right? Now we know that a noun is a person, place, or a thing, and that an adjective it describes more than that, right? It's a word or a phrase naming an attribute added to or grammatically related to a noun to modify or describe it, right? So if we look at Christianity, we know that Christianity is a religion, and it's a religion based not only on Jesus Christ, but all that happened before him, the Ten Commandments, the parting of the Red Sea, the plagues in Egypt, Sodom and Gomorrah, all of those things. We know that Jesus comes from that lineage or that line. That's the history of his people, the Hebrews, who later becomes a tribe of Israel, who later becomes in his personal sect, he's from the tribe of Judah, right? So all of those things. But Christianity, if we really are being honest, it was weaponized. It was used to let's just say enslave the minds of many people across the world, whether it's Africa, whether it's Europe, whether it's the Americas. They all have been enslaved to this. And so some might say it was force fed to them, right? And now that's one of the main religions throughout the world is Christianity. Like I said, there's been wars about it. There's been things of that nature to where people have taken over people's lives in the name of Christ. But in the meantime, if you're being Christ-like, we can really say that we don't really walk in Christianity, because when you when you're doing things Christ-like, you're doing things out of love and compassion and humility and humbleness and things of that nature. So you don't really look at being Christ-like as to enslavement. You don't look at Christ-like as to, you know, keeping people in bondage. When you think about Christ, you think about Christ setting people free. You think about his actions allowing Browns. Good morning. You look at Christ and you say, you know what? Christ would never want nobody to be in bondage. But there are people using Christianity as a form of bondage. You got to follow this way or you're going to go into hell. You're going to follow this or damnation is going to come upon you. We understand that the way that they weaponize Christianity is the way that they're going to instill fear. But when you walk like Christ, when you do things like Christ and it's out of love, you doing these things with abundance and freeness of your heart. You do it because not because you know it's a religion. You follow Christ because it's a way of life. It's a way that you want to live your life. For example, it don't say that a Christian's supposed to walk somebody across the street, right? But your compassion and your Christ-like abilities that's instilled in you is going to say, you know what, let me help this person across the street, or let me help this person with their baggage, or let me help this person do whatever it is to free them up and allow them to think about something else. That is a Christ-like ability. And sometimes we get the two confused because when you say Christianity, you're automatically going to go to Christ, Jesus Christ. But when you have the Christ-like abilities, you're going to say, you know what? There's a difference. Maybe I'm not explaining it to where there is a difference, but I'm trying to get there, right? Because when you do things Christ like, you're so willing to sacrifice yourself, right? Because that's what Christ did. He sacrificed for the whole world, the Bible says in 3 John 3:16. That's what the Bible says, right? So how many Christians are willing to sacrifice for themselves? How many Christians right now are saying, you know what, the world is in need of something. They're in need of food. They're in need of, hospitality. How many of these people is doing that? You have Christian leadership not even being able to obtain the help that these people that are in needs, right? There's so many people out here going to pantries. There are people out there scrambling for food, and yet there's nobody. No, I haven't. Well, let me not say all, but the majority of the leadership of the Christian church is not really doing the things to help the people be set free from the worryation of where my next meal is coming. It's not that you do all of these things for gratification, but you do it because that is the Christ-like thing to do, right? Because the Bible says, bring all the tithes into the storehouse. The storehouse is for the people that are in need, and it's not just to sit there if people are in need, right? If anybody remembers watching the Ten Commandments, right? And you see the Ten Commandments, and you see Moses go to the storehouse and open up the storehouse, and the people are starting to eat grains and things like that. That's what you're supposed to do when you are in a Christian leadership, because that's something that Christ would do. Christ-like ability is like, okay, well, I have 2 fish and 5 loaves, and I fed 5,000 people. That means you're going to do whatever, you're going to stretch it out as much as you can just to make sure that people are okay, that people are doing the things that people are satisfied with the things that they're doing or being received right now, you know. And so to me, that's a difference between being a Christian and being Christ-like. Now, I understand that people are doing things in the name of Christ, but is it because they want to be Christ-like, or they feel like they have to do it? You're not obligated to feel Christ-like if you're Christian. You're just obligated to follow the laws and the rules, but being Christ-like, it supersedes the laws, because you don't have to do it. Excuse me, but you are doing it with an abundance of love and humility and sacrificing of yourself. Like, there's people on here that come on YouTube and just speaks about the way of God. They love the God that they serve. They are willing to stick their neck out for the love of God. That is a Christ-like ability. But if they're doing it to weaponize people, to force people to do things in all of that nature, I don't think that's Christ-like, because Christ will never he will never weaponize the things that he do. He did it because of his love of people, the love that God had instilled in him, the love that was embraced into his heart by his birth. So for me, that's the difference, right? Because if you, like I said, if you doing everything out of that humility, it'll bring you the gratification that I am doing something correctly. As in, when you're doing things out of the Christianity format, you may feel like you're obligated to do it. That's why, you know, they tell you that, yo, you're not supposed to give in tithing and offering without a cheerful heart, because they understand that there's going to be people doing it because they're following the routines and the laws of being a Christian, or what they're being taught as Christianity, as to when Christ will give his last with the grace and humility that he has, because he feels like he's doing it out of the love of God, or the love of the people that is around him, or the people, morning atmosphere, the people that's around him. So it's a difference. It may be a small difference, but it's a difference nonetheless. And that's why, with Christ, he tells the apostles to go on out there throughout the entire world and go ahead and spread the message. The message is to be Christ-like. Stop following the old ways. I'm not here. Christ said, I'm not here to break the law. I'm to break the prophecy. I'm here to fulfill it. And to fulfill the prophecy was to be Christ-like, to go on out there and talk to people and see what's wrong and heal and do all of those things. Because at the end of the day, what good is it to follow the religion of Christianity or Judaism if it's not helping anybody? So Christ did one better. He did things to help people, not just the miracles of healing. He planted a seed in the world. The seed was to be Christ-like. That's why he is the way, the truth, and the light. Because at the end of the day, if you do things Christ-like, you will receive the things that you're going to receive. You're going to receive the blessings. You're going to receive whatever gift is coming to you. But it has to be because you are doing the work. In Christianity, some people just may feel like, I don't got to do the work. It's going to come to me because I believe that Jesus is the Christ and he rose from the dead and now he is my savior. But you still have to do the works, because if faith plus works is faith without works is dead, then you don't believe in what you're saying in the first place. So you have to go on out there and do the things that you do. You got to go on out there and be, humble. Will there be mistakes in your walk with Christ because we're human? Absolutely. But as long as you're doing the things out of the kindness of your heart, you will be able to fulfill the Christ-like abilities that is in each and every one of us, and not feel like that you're obligated to do it. Good morning, Urban. It's a choice. It's a decision that each and every one of us has to make. Will we do everything correctly? No, because we all fall short of the glory of God. We just fall short of his glory, meaning that we're not perfect beings. We're not human beings, but we strive to do that anyhow. It's like I always say, it's like reaching for the stars. Good and well you won't reach the stars, but the fact that you're trying to do it is the progression in life. So that's what we do with being Christ-like. As to where in Christianity, like I said, people have went to war and conquered lands in this name, talking about Christ said that Christ is a conqueror of spirituality. Good morning, Cheeky. Christ is a conqueror of the war that is inside of you, between the good entity and the bad entity. That's where the wars are at, in your mind, in your heart, in your soul. That's where it's at. And sometimes we get overtaken by that. And so it's a normal thing to feel like, yo, I'm off a little bit, then I'm on a little bit. But with Christianity, they just went to if it sounds blasphemous, I apologize. But they was willing to seek to whom they may want to destroy, because nobody wanted to follow that religion, But being Christ-like, you go through different entities, right? For example, when Christ spoke to the woman at the well, right? He did that to show that, listen, she is not my race, or not my race, my religion, or yeah, you can say race. She's not one of my people. She's not a Hebrew. She's not a Israelite, right? But he went to talk to her, and he described himself to be a person of compassion, and because of his compassion, that woman, she opened up to him, even though he had already known the answers. that she had 5 husbands or whatever the case may be. Just go ahead and be well, right? That's what that's what Christianity should be like. But because you are Christ-like, you understand it with a little bit more clearance. You understand it with a little more heartfelt love, the agape love that they're talking about, right? Because there's nothing stopping you from being Christ-like. There are many of people who may not believe in Christianity, but are Christ-like people, right? You can say that there's Muslims that believe that being Christ-like is the way to go. You can say there's a few Buddhist people that feels like being Christ-like is the way to go. It's not that they don't want to follow. It's not that they don't believe Christianity is the way. They just believe in their whole hearts that being Christ-like is the way to go going forward in their life. Even an atheist can be Christ-like. Even if they don't understand what it really means, they can have that love, they can have that compassion, they can have that empathy, they can have that sympathy for people, and not really want to be under the umbrella of Christianity. Because at the end of the day, the Christ-like love that is in each and every one of us, it goes deeper than just a religion. A lot of us know that that's an everyday part of life. That's a way of life for some people. You know what I mean? Like, that's why for me, I made the suggestion to have the fast for people. Go ahead and do the fast. Try to be as close to Christ as possible. Try to understand what his feet was like in those sandals for those 40 days. What he had to give up, what he had to sacrifice, what did he give up in order to be the supreme person that he became after the fast. And even though, like, for a lot of people, the season of Lent is winding down, it can get heavy. It can get heavy. It can be a lot. There's going to be a blitz and an attack on your life because you're trying to be Christ-like. And sometimes it may not be received well. Sometimes it may come out of your mouth the wrong way, shape, form, or fashion. But the fact that you're trying to be Christ-like is the end goal. Are you going to make mistakes? Of course we are. But at the end of the day, I'm not doing this for a religious reason. I don't study the Bible for a religious reason. The Bible is not for a religion. It's for a way of life. And that's what being Christ-like is. It's a way of life. It's not, well, if you ain't a Christian, you're going to be damned. No, you got to be Christ-like. You want to be Christ-like because people receive you more as being Christ-like instead of a Christian. If you are a Christian, they feel like you're trying to force themselves into your life. You're trying to force things. You're trying to implant a seed that will be rejected because it's not a heartfelt thing. It's not a sincere thing. It's a reason why the Pharisees and the Sadducees don't receive the Christ-like redemption. Is because they're not willing to sacrifice for themselves. They're not willing to give up all of the things that makes them Christ-like, pretty much, right? Because, well, we've been following this since the beginning of time, and this, that, and the third. Well, follow Christ since the beginning of time. That's why he had to appear, because the ways of the Old Testament did not touch the hearts and minds and soul of the people. So now he has to appear and be the example of what Christ-like is about. Being Jesus or Emmanuel or whatever you want to call his name to be. At the end of the day, you got to do this for a reason of it just feels natural, right? Nobody's forcing me to say I love you. Nobody's forcing me to say I care about you. Nobody's forcing me to do anything that I don't want to do, right? And sometimes being a Christian, you're gonna feel like you're forced to do things. That's just the way it is. That is factual. You know, like, and my thing is this: if you could. I don't know how you can. It's only for me. It's only one way to be Christ-like. It should be no branches, right? All right, you got you know. And I'm not attack. Well, I'm not trying to offend anybody, right? But you got, you got the Catholics, you got the Protestants, you got the Church of God in Christ, you got the Episcopalian, you got all of these branches, but you only had one Christ. You had one Christ-like person that sets the way. If he's the way, the truth, and the light, how could it be possible that we have 8, 9, 10 different ways to get to Christ? Right? How do we got 10 ways to become Christ-like? It's only one way to be Christ-like. And that's why, they have weaponized the word Christian and Christianity to where there's wars. There's Muslim Christianity wars because of this very reason. But if we all follow in the way of Christ, we could have worked the way. We could have worked around all of these things. But when man gets in the way of your spiritual being, when your flesh gets in the way of the spiritual aspect of life, there's gonna be conflict because man is always gonna fall short. Your flesh is in a way for a reason, and it's sad, but it's true. We should not be up here fighting about what it is like to be Christ-like. The fact that you can love somebody and not know them is Christ-like. The fact that you can offer services to a person that you don't even have a clue what they're going through, that's Christ-like. The fact that you just want to be a good person because that's how you feel in your heart, that is Christ-like. The things that people have gone through, it's amazing how people want to follow anybody, but the way that they want to be Christ-like, hey CC, the way that you follow in Christ is amazing because it just feels much freer to do. It just allows you not to have the yoke of an entire religion on your back. Like I could sit there and say, atmosphere, we good, I love you, right? No, and not say no homo because that's a genuine feeling. But the ways of the world would make you seem like that's blasphemous to say to a man. Right? I could say, Bronze, I love you. I hope everything is well with you. That will be blasphemous to the world because they will make it seem like a negative attribute. That's the religion in life. We have stretched that word religion so far that we have contaminated what it's like to be Christ-like. And that's a sad thing to do. That's a sad way of living. So, the fact that we have to go through these things it's a terrible thing, right? The fact that you feel like you got to defend your Christ-like being is a terrible thing, even against those that say, well, you're not doing the things of Christ. If I am loving a person the way that Christ would, that's Christ-like. If I am willing to sacrifice for a person that is in need of that sacrifice, that is Christ-like. Did not Christ give up his life to save the whole entire world? Isn't that what the Bible says? So if the Bible says that and we are all supposed to stand on that, then we should be doing the things of Christ that he would do. Be Christ-like. It's like I tell people all the time, if you lost a loved one, right, you're going to do what you think that loved one would want you to do because they felt that was the right thing to do. So what's the difference between that loved one and being Christ-like? It's the same thing. But because we have this Christianity thing, let the dead bury the dead. Yeah, you let the dead bury the dead physically, but spiritually you try to keep on going. That's why they want Christ to, continue to live, because he lived inside of you, just like them people that passed in our lives. They lived inside of us. We still have their memory. We still have some form of their DNA inside of us. They can never be dead. Their lineage continues. Their life continues. It continues through us. But because Christianity is so heavy about certain attributes, it covers the Christ-like being that's supposed to be in the level of Christianity itself. Good morning, Queen Motivation. It's just the way that it has to be. That's why people should be fasting from whatever they feel like they should be fasting from. And I will have that update in the next few days at the end of the fast to further explain what I am saying, because this actual comment will lead to that. When you finish the fast, there will be something different. and there will be things that you will notice. And I'll leave it at that for that part. But in the meantime, it's nothing wrong with being Christ-like. You know, they make it seem so horrible to care about people. They make it so hard to fight for somebody that you love. That's what Christ would do. It's okay for us to cry. Christ cried. If we're being Christ-like, it's men cry too. Fellas, we cry too. We just don't cry the way that everybody else wants us to cry. We may sob. We may have to go in the bathroom and clean our faces off. Look, when that tear come off your face. Christ cried several times. But because you're a man, you're not supposed to feel emotions. No, we're supposed to control the emotions. But sometimes it gets loose because sometimes we are overwhelmed with emotions. That's a battle that's within us. But, being in the religion of Christianity, we're not able to expel, we're not explore those type of things because there's only one way and one way only, and that's not it. Being Christ-like allows you to explore many different avenues that Christianity won't allow you to explore. Am I telling you not to be a Christianity, a Christian? No, what I am saying is be Christ-like. If you're being Christ-like, you would supersede the Christianity religion, and it'll allow you to explore things in a different format, in a different aspect, in a different manner, because being Christ-like is something totally different than Christianity to me. This is just my opinion. That's my disclaimer. I am speaking with my own opinion. I'm not promoting one or the other, and I'm not trying to disillusion one or another. I'm saying that being Christ-like, it supersedes a whole bunch of things, a whole bunch of religions, a whole bunch of life that's could be eradicated because you are Christ-like people. We are all Christ-like people. We have all been embedded with the Christ-like gene. We have all been embedded with loving somebody with compassion, humility, patience, and all of those things that comes from the being the seed of love or the fruit of love, or however you want to put it as. But we all can be Christ-like, right? And like I just said, it supersedes Christianity itself. It'll allow you to see things like, you know what? I could love that Muslim brother because I can understand that he's trying to be Christ-like. Christ didn't condemn anybody. He said he who is without sin cast the first stone. But it's the spirituality that's in you that'll allow you to see that there is a Christ-like being within somebody. And when you see it from the spiritual being, you'll see it'll resonate to the physical and to the mind and to the soul. It'll all resonate. Good morning, Diane. How you doing? And because you go that way, you can say, you know what? I'm no longer Christian. I am above being a Christian. I am Christ-like. And I don't think there's nothing wrong with being Christ-like. You still can follow. You still can read the Bible because the Bible has all the keys of being Christ-like. You still can pray because that's a part of the Christ-like entity. All of that is involved, right? But the fact that you have to be labeled as a noun instead of an adjective is kind of weird, right? Because there's nothing wrong with saying I am Christ-like. Just as much as people say I am a Christian, okay, you are a person that believes in Christ. But now you got to put it into an adjective or adverb. You add into something. You making this an action word. I am Christ-like. I care about what Queen Motivation has to go through. I care about what Atmosphere has to go through. I care about what Diane has to go through. I care about what Bronze has to go through. I care. And if there's anything that I can do, I am willing to do it. Right? And I'm not doing this to gain any recognition. I'm doing this because it's a Christ-like thing to do. There's been many times that Christ would heal somebody and just take off and won't be seen. And the only reason why people would know it is because that's the testimony of the person that was healed. to where Christianity, oh, I done set my hands on this man and he's been set free. The devil has been released from his mind. But we have to be careful of that, because at the end of the day, are they doing it for their recognition, or are they doing it to actually genuinely help? But Christ does things with genuineness. He never said, you know what, I'm gonna take back the wine that I made at the wedding, or I'm gonna take back feeding the 5,000 with the two loaves, the two fish and five loaves. He never did that. He never went back and tried to conquer them. He went back. He went to these people with love. Like I said, he wanted to reach people that is not even of his own race. Well, I hate saying race. His own set of people, which is the Israelites. He went to the Samaritans, which were the rivals of the Israelites. You understand what I'm saying? So if you go on and do the things that you need to do, it's outside of who your community is, you or your neighbors or your village or whatever you want to look at it. You can go on out there and say, you know what, I could love this person because they are a person. It doesn't mean that they may receive it, but you can do it with the love that Christ is that Christ had in himself, which we all have in ourselves. So there should be no problem with that. There should be no problem with trying to do the best that you can. And you may rub people wrong, and you may, you know, be a hindrance to somebody, and you have to accept that. You have to live with that if you're being rejected. And so, with that being said, when Christ was rejected, you know, he dusted his sandals off and kept it moving. It never said that if it hurted him or not, but if he was in a human form, it probably did, because most people don't like rejection. Most people don't know how to handle rejection. Most people don't know what it's like to be hurt and get over it. Some people are still holding on to hurts. You know what I mean? You just gotta, dust yourself off and keep going. He still was Christ-like. He still was the same Jesus that he was before the rejection. And sometimes you gotta look at it that way. And like I said, I'm not trying to not acknowledge Christianity. I'm just saying that being Christ-like is different from Christianity. Because if you just be a Christian, you pray and you our Father who art in heaven, and then going out there and try to indoctrinate people. Christ is just saying, listen, love thy neighbor. Like he broke the 10 commandments down into 2, 5 for the God that you trying to serve, and 5 for the people that you're gonna have to be around, right? And so he didn't have to replay all 10 of the 10 commandments. He simply reduced it to 2 and put 5 and 5. So that way it's more acceptable for us to recognize. It's more acceptable for us to apply. And like I said, he fulfilled the prophecy, meaning he did everything that he needed to do in order to show that he is the way. The way is being Christ-like. He was in his truth. The truth was being that he is being in a loving, compassion, humility form, and the light. Because without him being him, there would be a lot of animosity, more than it is today. But now that people are turning around, becoming Christ-like people, no matter what quote unquote religion it is, it makes the world bearable. It makes the world, have a fighting chance that there are people that actually care with sincerity, that is humble with generosity and love, that those things can actually work. But if we just continue to go down the path of religions, we're just doing this. Oh, well, we got to do this because God said so. Jesus did it because it was the right way to go about it. He didn't have to force the people. He told people, come, let us make fishers of men. They didn't have to follow him. They just felt that that was the right thing to do, right? It was no tug of war in the people that was deciding to become apostles of Christ. They did it because they believed he was the way, the truth, and the life. And he was that way because there are a lot of us living in the Christ like entity instead of being in the religious entity, right? Because we are doing this because it's a way of life. People are following religions because they feel like that is the way to go, but they may not be comfortable in it. You can question certain things in a Christ-like entity where you feel like you will be punished if you question in the religious aspect of things, which is sad, but it's just the truth. Like people don't understand. Like Job would ask questions, but he got rewarded. He just never, he was still the loving, compassionate person that was going through a situation. That's why we can say Job was Christ like, because at the end of the day, he was willing to do the things that Christ would do later on down the line. That's why you could measure what Christ like is being in the New Testament and look back in the Old Testament, and you may find some people, but the majority of the people were not Christ like. Let's just be realistic. That's one of the things that I found out during the time that I'm going through with the fast. You really got to look at it. If you really pay attention to it, there's more fasting in the Old Testament than there is the New Testament, because there's a lot of people not really fasting for the right reasons. You fast to become or gain a proper perspective of life. You do it to get closer to God and the spirit that God has given you already. Now, if he gives you an abundance, that means it was already in your storehouse. So that's what I'm saying. Because when you do these things, it's Christ-like. It's not a forced behavior. It's a natural behavior. It feels so normal that you're willing to do it so freely. So it's okay if you do that. So I would advise, to take the time and try to decipher the difference between being in the religion of Christianity and being Christ-like. And if it doesn't apply to you, if there's no difference, then excuse the live, excuse the comments that I am saying. But if you believe that this is working for you and there is a difference, and then apply it to your life and see if there is a difference. I would ask that everybody apply it to their life and see if there's a difference anyway. But if it doesn't work for you, then God bless you. And if it does work for you, God bless you. Right? It's about choices. We got it's crazy because we got a permissive will and a divine will. That's another conversation for another day. But the fact that those are there, it allows us to view things like this and not feel like we're being condemned. And are people probably going to attack me for having this conversation? Probably so. But you know, I understand that. I just know. It's not even an understanding. It's knowing that I know that there's a difference between being Christ-like and being a Christian. It's more freer to be Christ-like. You would do it with the abundance of love that was already given to you. It's not stored up in your storehouse, but you know it's there. You know what I mean? It's not hidden from you any longer. It's there. If that makes sense. It's why the apostle Paul is running around, running to all of these people. He's running to Thessalonica. He's running to Colossae. He's running to Rome. He's doing all these things because he feels like he's doing it for the love of God. He it's not that he wants to become a martyr. He feels like he's doing the right thing. A lot of people feel that way in Christianity, but for some reason they're looking to gain something. There's a lot of people that's gaining from the religion of Christianity. We may gain something being Christ-like, but it's not. I want to say it's not for the world to revel in, but It's not for the world's riches. It's not for the world to gain the upper hand. It's if you're doing things Christ like, you're doing things because you want other people to succeed. It's not what you gain. It's not like how the way the churches are formed today, claiming that they are, being Christ like and not having nothing for the people. There's no storehouses to tithe in for the people, right? And then they give you something to where they giving you a watered down version of being Christ-like. They're more worried about their finances than the spiritual finances of the people in the world, or the reconnection of the mind, body, and soul of the people in the world. Christianity has become a show business instead of a soul business. But being Christ-like can never be soul business. I mean, show business, because it's about the inner workings that's gonna be glowing from the outside of you, and that's just the way that it goes. This is not for it's not for people's benefits. It's for a personal benefit, for that person to be renewed, to live again, to be revived from the ways of the world. Because the ways of the world, we love money and we've made it a god. We made the love of money the root of the evil, instead of the way of life that we're supposed to be in it. I mean, we understand that the world runs on money, but the fact that there's a lot of people killing themselves to make the money is is another thing. You know, we know that when you're doing the right things, that things will be added unto you. When you're being Christ-like, things will be added unto you. When you love somebody, your reward will be given to you. When you help people, there will be a blessing given unto you. Those are the things that I'm trying to explain. I'm not trying to knock down Christianity. I am just saying that it has been weaponized. And it's not to say that being Christ-like is a religion. Let me repeat myself. Being Christ-like is not a religion. It's a way of life. It's not to where Christianity is. It's a religion. It's not a way of life. They may think it's a way of life, but you forcing it to be a way of life. And a lot of people are failing at it. If you're being Christ-like, it just flows differently. It just comes out of you differently. And those are the things that I want people to understand. And like I said earlier in the beginning, it may sound controversial, but like I said, if you sit down and listen to it and dissect exactly what I'm saying, you will understand what I'm saying is it's not a shot at the religion of Christianity. It's just the fact that it has been, what they say, the Bible has been tampered, so has the religion of Christianity. So is the way of Christianity. So I'm not denouncing Christianity. I'm saying I am Christ-like. If you don't understand the difference, like I said, look it up for yourself and understand why I'm saying it. It's just my truth. I'm not here to force my truth onto anybody. I'm just here to allow you to see the difference between the two in my perspective. If it works for you, God bless you. If it doesn't work for you, God bless you. I'm just saying what works for me. Will it get me in trouble? Maybe. Will it make people look at me different? Maybe. Will I lose people? Maybe. But the fact of the matter is, I have to do the things that I think that is Christ-like. And that's the way that it should be for each and every one of us. No matter if you are, Christian, Muslim, Buddhist, whatever religion is out there, if you are doing things out of the love of Christ, or the Christ-like entity, the love and compassion of your soul that wants to see people progress, that wants to see people at peace, that wants to see people with true understanding, there should not be a problem with the message. But I'm pretty sure that there will be. Money isn't incentive for Adam's punishment. No, money wasn't but see, that's the thing, Atmosphere. It wasn't really an incentive, because there was no money at the time of the thing, right? You just you tilled the ground in order to survive. Where we were just surviving off of what God had already given us. Now we got to work for everything. That's the difference. That's the punishment from the Garden of Eden. We got to work for everything. We have turned ourselves into a slave mentality, and that's part of the thing of being Christ-like. You are not a slave to the freeness that the love is giving you, that the understanding is giving you, that the wisdom has given you. It's a totally different thing than just following the ways of religion. You know, you got to pray to hell. You got to pray 3 Hail Marys and all of. No, just be Christ-like. Understand what Christ did and why he did it. And that way you can go about the way of life. Yeah, it's one according. You know, it's one accord. But we got 9 and 10 different entities of a thing, you know? And that's just the way that it goes. I just want people to understand, in my eyes, in my opinion, in my light, I believe that there's a big difference between the two. So, you know, like I said, if you're going to apply it and see if it works for you, then have at it. If it doesn't work for you, you know, there's no fault. The fact that you tried is always going to be the end goal anyway. If it works for you, it works for you. If all right, I tried it. You know, it's like, all right, I tried shrimp. I don't want to eat shrimp. I don't like the way shrimp tastes. Or I don't want to eat pork because I don't like the way it tastes. Never mind if it's right or wrong. It's your right to worry about. It's your decision to try it. If you try it and it applies, then God bless you. If it doesn't, then God bless you still. But the fact of the matter is, you know, it's not for it's not for everybody. It may not be for everybody to understand what I'm saying. But if it does work for you, then you should apply it. I'm not here. This is not a cult thing or whatever they would want to try to perceive this as. It's just the way that I see it. I just believe that, you know, when they say Christ is the way, the truth, and the life, it's the way that he lived, the way that he responded to people, the way that he brought people to a newness is what I believe that it is. And it wasn't forced for Christ to do it. He did it willingly. He did it with the abundance that was given to him from his birth, you know, and that's all I'm saying. It's just that way for me. I appreciate you, Atmosphere, but I'm, you know, like I said, it's just so much going on. It's so much discrepancy. There's so much fighting. There's a war going on right now because they own this land. God told them to conquer this land, and God told them to get rid of these people. And God, listen, if we are all being Christ-like, that war can end. That's just the truth of the matter. If we was all Christ-like, there would be no problems. You would be in Eden, like the beginning. It would be peace. We would have to all kill ourselves to go to work and till the ground and make ends meet and all of that. There would be one hand over the other. It would be a cohesionness of working together, and there will be peace and prosperity and an abundance not seen since the Garden of Eden. But maybe I'm wrong. You know, I could be wrong. It won't be the first time I was wrong. It won't be the first time I said something that was incorrect. It won't be the first time that I offended somebody. It won't be the first time that I've been cast aside because I said something wrong. But the fact is, if you know that you're doing the right thing, you're gonna do it. Just like there are people that really believe that the thing that they did back then was the right thing to do, but it was not Christ-like, because Christ didn't want to be a slave. Why would Christ want to be a slave? He was a slave to his heart and to the freeness of it. If that's being a slave, then that's okay. Well, yeah, I mean, that's how it goes, right? There was a eye-opening experience for Eve. She thought she was doing the right thing, and then That happened, right? So if that's what but like I said, let's just take it like this, Diane. Before that, was there anything to worry about? Was there anything to doubt? Was there anything to not perceive to be as oneness before that happened? You understand what I'm saying? But with that being said, now that I believe that Christ like is allowing people to live that way, even in the ways of this world. It just sets you free. It's a freeness. It's a newness that nobody can say that they may or may not had before that. And that's where the controversy may come in. That's where the situation might say, wait a minute, you talking blasphemous. I'm not saying I am him. I'm not saying anything of that nature. I am saying that being Christ-like allows you to feel as close to God than you ever did before. That's what I'm saying. I don't think the religion makes you get close to God, because a lot of the times you're not doing it with the agape love that they keep talking about. You're not loving in the way that you're supposed to be loving. You feel forced, and that's not love. Love is not forced, right? I had to learn that the hard way. You can't force love on, because when you force love on the people, they're gonna reject you and run away from you and do things of that nature. I had to learn that for myself. So now that I'm doing things in a Christ-like attribute, I am expecting a different result. I am expecting to be received in a different manner. I am expecting to be received that, he just trying to be realist. Good morning. Well, good afternoon. He's trying to be received in a different format than he was before. If God gives me a second chance this is the second chance to redeem it, right? To be Christ-like. If I'm trying to be Christ-like, then, I'm hoping that it allows people to see, well, there is no harm in what he's trying to do. He's not here to hinder nobody. He's here to help people. He's here to show that, his love is sincere and genuine, and it's not here to capture us into an enslavement of mind, but a renewing and the freeness of it. So, like I said, this is no, you start over. Hi, Meek. You over there. Welcome back. But I hope everything is well with you. But at the end of the day, if you being Christ-like, it's just something. I just feel that being Christ-like is something that it just supersedes religion. I think it just fits better with the individuals that's going through something. It sits better with somebody trying to be like, to be a Christian. It just supersedes. I just think that, because there's no weight of the world on your shoulders to be condemned to be Christ-like. Only the haters are going to do it, right? And like I said, even if a Muslim is Christ-like, I can't condemn him. If a Buddhist is Christ-like, I can't condemn him. Good afternoon. I can't condemn people for being Christ-like, because if it's not a religious thing, it's a way of life. It's a thing that was given to each and every one of us. It's a thing that allows us to say, you know what, I love my Muslim brother. Like, there's a reason why we all, I don't know if everybody know what I'm talking about. There's a reason why we connect with young Riaz. Some people might say something else, but the fact that he's young and he's embracing that love that God would have for anybody is the thing that, for me, it allows me to say, you know what, young Riaz, you my guy. I could say I love young Riaz with the love and understanding that he wants what's best for him, and he's trying to get there, and through understanding and realization. He tells you himself he's Muslim, but he has that Christ-like love in him. He is an understanding person. You know what I mean? So the fact that Christ-like is not a religion is something that we all could hang our hats on. It's a freeness of being in love, like the way Christ was in love with the people of his time. Like I said, when he went to that well and spoke to that woman, that was their enemy. That was they was beefing with those people. But Christ said, "Good afternoon, Tay." Christ said, "Let me go on over there and show them that Christ-like love is possible for them too." And because the apostles or the disciples or whatever you want to call them didn't get out there and do that, it took a long time to understand what the Christ-like love was. That's the commission. That truly is the commission. So the commission is to show people that, listen, being Christ-like in love and attribute in your everyday life is not a carnal sin. It's not going to kill you. It's going to allow you to have a peace and understanding of people like never before. Shout out to Thais, right? Because Thais will tell you, like, you know what? We can't have a conversation like this with people in general. But if we had that Christ-like entity, we wouldn't be afraid to have the conversation, right? Because if you understand, like, listen, I'm doing this out of the kindness or understanding or trying to understand what it is that I can help you with, or how could I be there to help you with, you know what I mean? And that's the goal that Christ was always trying to present. He got mad. When did he get mad? When people was taking what he was trying to display into another a stratosphere. That was not, he wasn't talking about prosperity and finances. He was talking about prosperity in you, the inside of you. That's why he turned the tables off. That's why he set the pigeons and the doves and whatever type of birds. That's why he set them free. Because it wasn't about money. It was about the individual. It's about getting your soul in order, getting the word, how are you? It's about getting everything in order within you. And then it blossoms out of you so people can actually see it, and they have no choice but to receive it, let alone forget about believing it, but receiving it. It's everything that the Christ, that's what Jesus was for. That's why he was the Christ. The Christ is to show people that love is within you. The abundance of love is within you. It's not about personal financial gain. If you get that, that's just more of an abundance of your life. But the life that you are supposed to live is through the love that you're supposed to have for people. And that's the difference for me between being Christ-like and following a religion. The fact that you are so concerned about another person and it's genuine, that is a Christ-like entity. You not sit there to cast a stone because somebody understands it but don't really want to follow the religion, but they want to follow the Jesus of the real life, the Jesus Christ like being. And that's the thing. Being Christ-like should draw others to want to be Christ-like. Exactly. And it doesn't matter if you believe in Buddha. It doesn't matter if you believe in Muhammad. It doesn't matter, because all of them is supposed to be showing the same thing. Christ-like love. That's supposed to be the end of every religion. But for some reason, we misconstrue that when it comes to religion. And instead of you being Christ-like, you can understand, okay, I get your point. But maybe if we approach it in a Christ-like entity, we can turn around and do the things that we need to do to have a better understanding. And then we can start to make the community. We can start to make a network. We can start to work together. There is no differences. That's why, it's crazy, like, that the word is here and his peoples are here. This is why I support them, because they have that understanding. There's different personalities, but when they work together, they're working together with the Christ-like agape love to say, you know what, let's do this together. Let's work. Let's put the differences aside. If I don't believe that God is who you say it is, or whatever the case may be. Christ like is the goal. Let's do this out of the love that Christ would do it. He may not be saying it, and they may not be saying it in that form of matter, but that's the displayment that they are trying to give you. That if you work together, if you love together, if you harmonize together, it can be a reality for not just you, but for everybody else. And when you get better, they get better. That's his motto. That's what he hangs his hat on. So I understand them, and I understand why they do the things that they do. Shay Love is another person. She does that with the Christ like love. Like, I don't care what y'all talking about. If you not doing it the way that Christ would be doing it, then we doing it wrong. And I understand her too. Shout out to her. And that's the thing that we have to understand. It's beyond religion, everybody. It's not a religious thing that be Christ-like. It's a way of life. And if you apply it to your life every day, you will see things clearly. It'll allow you to combine your mind, your body, your soul. It will turn that Trinity into to a divine Trinity that we are all looking towards in the first place. That's just the truth. And the fact that Christ like is the way, the truth, and the life to doing that, we need to follow that. We need to understand. We need to be past the thing of believing. We need to know that that is the way. That's the way to cure things. That's the way to cure your physical vision of frustration that you see out here. Right? It'll allow you to leave things alone just where it's at. It allows you to see, yo, that's not the place for me to be. It allows you to, you know what? No shot at this sector, but I'm not really trying to be in this sector anymore. There's a reason why people are being revealed to not wanting to be in a religious sect anymore. Because the God like, the Christ like love is allowing them to say, yo, I can do this in this format. And that's what people are driving to. I believe, I know it. Not because I'm doing it, because I see people that wants that way of life for themselves. And I'm telling you, if you apply it to yourself, either it's going to work and you understand what I'm saying, or you can understand it and not agree with it, but still have an understanding with it. It's time for us to understand that we are in a world to where it's okay to disagree with certain things. But when you have that Christ-like love, you can understand it with much more clarity. You can understand that to where your emotions are not taking over in the conversation. Your attitude won't destroy the work that you try to combine with another person. It allows it to still be a foundation of communication. It still allows it to be a foundation of mending bridges. It allows you to set the foundation for the steps and future walks that you are willing to walk. But it's all on each and every one of us. We have to understand the difference. And I just picked Christianity because I know a lot of us who may be doing the fast out of just being, you know, the Passover season, because it's still one and the same. Because even though the Christians are celebrating the 40 days of fasting for Jesus, it's still Passover season for those that for Judaism, or those that believe, in the old Hebrew ways of life. So I said Christianity for that reason, but I believe that any religion could be applied to this. Whatever you are, I don't care who you are. I think it works for I think this conversation works for any religion, but for my conversation, my topic was Christianity, because I know a lot of people who are saying that they are Christian. I'm saying let's supersede Christianity and let's just live Christ-like. If we live Christ-like, we will understand that Christianity, the religion, it's a small thing to a giant. Make this the Goliath that we need to go forward with, not out of fear and trembling, but out of the tallness of love that Jesus has displayed for each and every one of us. He put it in display for us, not because he just did miracles in the physical form, but he touched hearts in a way that a lot of people can't today. And so that's what I will end by leaving that note. Let's just be Christ-like and not feel forced to be a Christian. Let's be Christ-like because that's a way of life that Christianity may not allow us to have going forward. Or, like I said, or Islam or Buddhist. Let's try that. Let's not put a religion on Christ-like being. Let's just flow with the freeness of being who we are and who he was and the map that he displayed for us. If he's the way, the truth, and the light, let it be to where we all can be better human beings and better in working on our Trinity to match the Trinity that God has bestowed in front of us. So I'd like to, take the time. I'll read some of these comments real quick because I was just yapping. You know, Shout out to the word. What up? How you feeling? Good afternoon. Hope all's well. Hey Tay and everybody else. If you guys, have any, if you guys have any suggestions or comments or questions, like feel free to ask. Because at the end of the day, I would, it's not a one man show, even though I'm having the conversation, but there's nothing wrong with questioning. There's nothing, like I said, Job questioned God. He really questioned God. Like, what did I do to deserve this or this, that, or this third? But he was still being obedient and not conforming to the ways of the people that was around him. You know what I mean? And he got rewarded because, the obedience is the sacrifice. That's why Christ is so, that's why Jesus is so unique. That's why a lot of us view him as the Christ, but not fully understanding what the Christ meant, what it means to each and every one of us today. His obedience was the sacrifice. Whether you believe he was hung on the tree, whether he died on Golgotha and raised from the dead, the way that he lived was the sacrifice for each and every one of us. That's what it really, really, really is. He rose and he was renewed. He was renewed during the fast, and he rose to become a new person. But I'll hit on that next week when the 40 days of fasting is over and touch it at that level. But like I said, it's just time, and it's just a blessing to have this conversation or to express this. And I hope that I hope it's understandable to people, and I hope that it resonates with people. It's not an attack on Christianity. I just think that we can do better if we're all Christ-like. So once again, I thank you guys for taking the time to hear me out. And let's have this is it may be a busy week for some people as they're finishing their fast. But for the rest of us, let's start this week off being Christ-like and see where it gets us. And if it gets you to your peace and blessings, then God bless you. And if it doesn't, like I said, you tried. With that being said, I'm gonna end this and I'm out.